One day, after nearly a month of isolation, Jazzy received a visit from the pastor's daughter. Eventually, the conversation turned to God. The girl invited her to church and left her some Christian reading materials, along with a link to a website called therevolution.com. Later that day, Jazzy opened the first magazine on that website, and she read these words: It's possible to be so concerned with what has happened in the past, or so caught up with what's happening in the present, that we pay no attention to what God has for us next. Well, finishing up the story, 10 days before she turned 17, with her slate wiped clean and the spotlight gone, Jazzy Dykes had a new future to write about. She was no longer a rebel. She was a revolutionary. Never to do things halfway, she threw herself into sharing Christ's love the same way she'd thrown herself into writing and protesting. She committed to using the gifts that God had given her to serve and follow Him only. Within 2 months, she was volunteering with 2 organizations as a children's rights advocate, working with gangsters, sexually exploited girls, and abused children. The rebel without a cause now had a holy ambition. The angry activist had become the loving advocate. Here's what she writes: I will never stop seeking young people who don't know God. I will never stop chasing them, winning their souls to Christ. I believe that God will equip me with the strength and the right spirit. Deep inside me flows the DNA of a revolutionary. Even though I'm just a young lady, a small voice in a big world, I believe I can do neat things for God's glory. I'm just a humble servant, geared up to face any challenge my master sets before me. Well, that's Jazzy's story, and your story, Becca, is like hers, but I want to encourage you to keep doing hard things for Him. I'd like to give you this book with a note in from us. You're welcome. I do want to look ahead, though, since it is commencements, which is talking about a beginning. It's a chance, really, to start over and maybe be all God wants you to be. I remember when I left home after graduation, which was a few years ago, my parents had this old bus, a school bus, but it was old, and it was all painted, and the inside was converted into a big camper. And I left soon after graduation and moved to a campground where I was a lifeguard that summer. And later then went on to college at Taylor University, which is not too far from where you're going to go. And there, God changed my life because at that time, the only person that may have thought I was anything was my mom, if she thought that at all. And maybe still it's that way, but God used those 4 years at Taylor, like He's going to use your 4 years at Indiana Wesleyan and Marion, to change me. And so by the time I graduated, I was president of the student body, but just a different person than when I went in. And I think that can happen to you too. I want to think about commencement as a starting time tonight. I'm looking forward to what you have to say, Becca, and what Mrs. Bird does too. This is your chance, Becca. I encourage you to use it. Stay close to Him. Becca, if you'll come up here now, we'd like to present you with some honors cords. These represent outstanding grades and remarkable achievement. Congratulations.
Well, it's really great to be here and finally put faces to all the names I've been hearing. I just want to talk a little bit about what's been going on in my life the last couple years. About 3 years ago, my dad gathered us all together and told us some pretty life-shattering news. It might sound a little melodramatic, but to a freshman in high school, hearing that you're moving to a foreign country is pretty life-shattering. And my parents lived in Haiti before I was born, and so I grew up learning about it and eating Haitian food and hearing them speak Creole, so I was really familiar with it. But learning about Haiti from my North American home is a lot different from actually moving there. And so I was just really not looking forward to it. I knew that I was going to be forced out of my comfort zone a lot, and I was not really too thrilled about that. And I was right about that. The next 3 years weren't very easy, and but there were a lot of incredible experiences mixed in with the bad ones. And a lot of people have told me, as I've told them a little bit about my life, they've said, like, I could never do what you're doing and moving to a country when you're so young. I've heard it so much since I've been traveling that I just kind of laugh about it now and tell them, you'd be surprised. Because when I'm doing things like crossing the channel in a wooden boat that Jesus could have ridden in, and playing with 40 smiling orphans, and listening to my mom teach English to the young leaders of our town, I look around me and ask God why He chose me to move to this incredible place and meet these incredible people. And I just tell them that you'd be surprised, because I've learned that when you are in the place that God wants you to be, like, it's just incredible, and you just have amazing experiences, and you have such peace knowing that that's where you're supposed to be. And one of the things that really stuck with me, one of the lessons that I've learned is, we were in a fishing village just down the coast from where we live, and it's a really poor area, which is saying something for Haiti. But it was after church service, and because they don't see a lot of white people, all the little kids kind of just flock around you. And so I had about 20 little girls tugging on my arms and walking down the street. And there was a little girl in front of me, and she was just dressed in rags, and she hadn't been to church, and she was in her bare feet. And that just caught me off guard, because I know what's there, and I know what the diseases that they can pick up from bare feet and things like that. And the little girls were trying to push her away because she was slowing us down, and she was just little and was having trouble walking. And I looked down because she stopped, and I noticed that she had stubbed her toe, and that just kind of hit me, because it was just a simple little thing, but it was just so sad to me. And so I picked her up and took her back to the team, and I asked if we had a Band-Aid to put on it, and they said that it was just a little cut, it wasn't really worth messing with. But to me it just kind of like struck me, because I felt like Jesus would stop and put a Band-Aid on a little girl's foot, and it just encouraged me to never get hardened to your surroundings, and always look for the simple little things that you can do, whether it's smiling at someone who has had a rough day, or just encouraging people. It's never too small of an act. Well, amid all that, and amid all the incredible things I got to do, I still had to do things like get an education. And that was one of my big concerns about when we were moving to Haiti, because I really had no idea how I would be prepared for college living on a small French-speaking island in the Caribbean. I really saw no way I could have a school that would do that for me. And it's just been so great, because I feel that Sevenstar has done that. And when I think about college and going to college, I don't feel stressed out, or I feel just very calm about it, because I feel like the last couple years have really prepared me. And so I just want to say thank you for your part in that.